Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. Today I wanted to talk about more books in relation to Springathon coming up this week. So it's starting on Saturday the 1st of May and it is a readathon that I'm co-hosting all about nature writing. I will link the announcement video below. Today I wanted to talk about books that inspire Wanderlust, as you will probably have seen by the title of this video. Basically any books that are either nature or travel related that makes you crave wandering or traveling when you read them. So I mean, if you know the definition of Wanderlust, you already know that, but I think for me it usually means either the wish to move without a destination in mind, or it makes me want to go to a particular place. First I wanted to share some book recommendations, and then I also wanted to mention a few books that is on my TBR that I would like to read with this theme. First up we have Wind, Sand and Stars by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This is translated by William Rees, I think. A memoir where he talks specifically about his experiences as a pilot in the early 20th century. I think it specifically covers the 20s and 30s. And he talks about the love he has for flying and the physical experience of it. It isn't just the flying theme that makes me think of Wanderlust in connection with this book, but I think it is one of the things that made me love this book was the way he talks about the travel and movement and flying as a very magical thing to be able to do. And of course when he did it, it wasn't as safe as it is for us now to sit in an airplane. But the sense of wonder at the flying and also the movement and traveling and seeing new places. And I think that is definitely something that comes through in this very brief memoir. So this is one that I would strongly recommend in general, but especially for this theme of travel related writing. I think it's a classic in the genre. So then we have a book that I just finished and also sort of sparked the feel of wanting to read more in the similar vein, so I'll talk more about that in my Springathon TBR. This one is Turning Lessons from Swimming Berlin's Lakes by Jessica J. Lee. So this is a memoir about swimming, and as the title suggests, about swimming specifically in Berlin, although she does talk about swimming in Canada and other places as well. You might be able to hear some bird song and chirps in the background because I just filled up the feeder. So this is about, of course, the swimming aspect itself is movement, and a lot of it means that she's going on small trips to different places. It both makes me want to specifically go to Berlin, to visit Berlin, whenever that is possible to do, but also something I tend to love is reading about swimming, which I've definitely talked about in the past. And one of the reasons I think is because it inspires Wanderlust in me. I don't necessarily want to swim myself, but I feel the same feel of wanting to go out and explore and see new things, and find that comfort that a lot of people find in swimming, in just wandering. It captures the same sense of being at ease with the world, I think. And especially in this book, she talks a lot about finding her place and finding a place that she feels like herself and that is meant for her and that she belongs in. And I think that also inspires Wanderlust for me. Just that sort of the searching and how that can only happen with movement, and both in a sort of symbolic way and in a physical way. And I really enjoyed this one. I will talk more about it in my April wrap-up. Next up we have a book I don't have a physical copy of, and that is In Other Words by Jhumpa Lahiri. This was translated by Anne Goldstein, I think, the translator who does the Neapolitan books as well, into English. So this is another memoir, and this one is about Jhumpa Lahiri moving to Italy to learn the language. And so it's a lot about linguistics, of course, but also the fact that she does move to Italy means that she's talking a lot about the movement of that and of getting used to a new place. And I think for me, part of the reason it inspires Wanderlust is because I love Italy, and Italy is a place I've been traveling to many years. The way she talks about experiencing a new place and wandering around in it and becoming accustomed to it through learning the language as well, and how much the language is part of the experience of a new place. There's just something about that again inspires Wanderlust for me. The sense of wonder, the sense of not quite knowing, and the unknown being something that that is sort of a source for inspiration and for again, wonder. The last book I wanted to recommend for Wanderlust inspiring books is It's Too Late Now, or just Autobiography by A.A. Milne, or Alan Alexander Milne. I have a copy of this one, but it doesn't have a cover on it, so I'll put a picture of it here. It was recently republished in I think it's one of the Bloomsbury imprints, but basically it's a memoir where he talks about his childhood, his adolescent, his young adult years. This isn't necessarily nature related, and it isn't necessarily travel related in a direct sense, but I think one of the things that makes me love A.A. Milne as a writer is the way he embraces Wanderlust as a theme in all of his writing that I've read so far. It's the Wanderlust aspect more in the sense of exploring your vicinity or wherever you are, having being driven by curiosity and enjoying just exploring new things, discovering new things, or just being outside and being very much present in wherever you find yourself in. So some of the things that he talks about in this book is him going on small trips with his brother when he's young, going on a bike ride several hours away. All the things that you would probably expect to find in a sort of early to mid 20th century British type book. Butterfly collecting, those kinds of things, that is sort of part of that time and era. A lot of the same sort of interests that he clearly had when he grew up informed the things that you find in the Winnie the Pooh stories as well. The appreciation of the seasons, the appreciation of the natural landscapes, the sense of wonder and wandering. I think in general, books like this, covering childhood years in as I said, early to mid 20th century Britain, or really up to the 60s and 70s, I think has that sort of being very much spending a lot of your time outside and exploring and getting to know the natural world. And those kinds of things inspire Wanderlust in me, making me want to go outside and experience nature firsthand. Then, as I said, I wanted to mention 3 books that is on my TBR that I would like to read that I think sort of also touch on the travel and movement and wandering and curiosity things related to Wanderlust. So first we have The Way Through the Woods by Litt, Woon, which is the group read for Springathon, and of course the title itself is already sort of touching on the movement aspect, and I think this one talks about grief and the grieving process, as well as talking about learning something, specifically learning more about fungi and mushrooms, and so I think in both of those senses it's a sense of a journey. And I think this will also make me want to explore more of the mushrooms in my area. And I mean, it's one of those things I already have an interest in, but each time I read about fungi and mushrooms, it refurnishes my interest and wanting to see what I can find in the nature around me. The next one I want to talk about is called Migratory Birds by Mariana Oliver, and this one is translated by Julia Sanchez, who I've just read another translation by and really enjoyed that one. This one is all about migrations. It says Mariana Oliver trains her gaze on migration in its many forms, moving between real cities and other more inaccessible territories, language, memory, pain, desire, and the body. Blending criticism, reportage, and travel writing with all her own, Oliver presents a brilliant collection of essays that asks us what it means to leave the familiar behind and make the unfamiliar our own. I feel like this description sort of encapsulates what Wanderlust is, so I don't really need to go into any more details about it, I think. And it's one of those books that I'm really looking forward to reading when it comes out in June by Transit Books. The last one I wanted to mention for this video is The Women I Think About at Night, Traveling the Path of My Heroes by Mia Kankimäki, and translated from the Finnish by Douglas Robinson. So I am sort of wanting to read this in the Swedish translation, which has just come out. But this is, again, a travel mix with memoir. So it says, in The Women I Think About at Night, Mia Kankimäki blends travelogue, memoir, and biography as she recounts her enchanting travels in Japan, Kenya, and Italy, while retracing the steps of 10 remarkable female pioneers from history. I mean, everything about that sounds fascinating and fun, and very much my kind of thing. So the travel and the fact that it travels, traveling itself is into very different sort of countries, and that she follows the footsteps of other female pioneers, I think is also going to be really fun. So this is one of those books that I've had my eye on for a while, and I know Agnes from Beyond the Epilogue also really enjoyed this one. So I think, again, the travel aspect is obviously related to Wanderlust, and the fact that the author follows the footsteps of someone else obviously means she has been inspired to wander based on these women as well. So those are all of the books I wanted to share with you for books that might inspire, I should say might because I haven't read all of them, might inspire Wanderlust in you. I would love to know if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, if you have, and if you have any recommendations for me for books that you think would inspire Wanderlust in a reader. So I would love to know. I hope you're doing well and you're taking care of yourselves, and I will talk to you soon.